Dream Warriors, 83 with the Dream Warriors. We're
Doesn't get any better.
We're fully loaded right now.
All three Warriors.
Got Mark, got Chris,
DOCWATSO.
got Pete.
That's right.
Hashtag DOCWATSO on
Follow
Instagram.
me on Instagram. Yes, sir. You know
Always
it.
be plugging.
Always.
Okay, we're doing Tropic Thunder. We're going to hit that music. We're going to rock and roll.
Boom. And I keep it in realize it's not 3 o'clock yet.
Is it not
It's like, well, it's barely. It's maybe
It's
maybe
3. It's 3:12.
Wow.
Chris and I already did one episode. We did episode 82, Wheelman from Netflix,
which I still have to catch up on now. So
we love that movie. We really enjoyed
I'm
it.
glad that I saw Baby Driver recently, so I can watch that soon.
Yeah, you're
and try
actually
to compare it a little
and
bit
come
more.
back. So Chris just watched Bad Batch. Say Mark.
Epic.
Yes.
Epic. I want to make a Bad Batch too, just so I can try to fly out for the open call.
Yeah.
Just to be an extra in that movie, just to be around it.
It was interesting. It was definitely different.
Dude, it's like nothing I've seen.
Yeah. So unique.
Yeah,
So
just
unique when it can't
even compare. It's an elite of its own.
Yeah, and Wheelman is just another one of these like awesome Netflix movies that Netflix
Which you've
is
said that
rolling
you
out.
referenced it before, and I still have yet to watch it.
Yeah,
so.
but we recommend that. But we're talking Tropic Thunder today because we had Mark on speakerphone. Chris and I were loosening up.
Yes, we did.
As we did, we call people on speakerphone to loosen up. Mark and I do the same thing.
Yeah.
We normally call women, but this time we called Mark. And, some days...
Kind of
that's-
the same thing.
I was going to say, some days that's the same thing. I was giving you a little bit of credit there. I was saying some days it's like the same
Pete
thing.
refrained himself from a joke. Wow.
Yeah, brah.
We are making history on multiple levels today.
Yeah.
And we were talking to you about what you've been watching. So I got the idea that since today we had John Wick 1 and 2 scheduled.
Yeah.
Talking
I'm very
talking about epicness, which is
very
Mark's idea.
excited for.
Mark's programming.
Dude.
Mark programmed
I've
our
watched,
next
I watched
episode.
behind the scenes on both those movies,
See?
on stuff that on him
I
making
can't
the
wait.
movie
Yeah.
and him doing
See?
it.
I can't wait. Yeah.
It's-
So we
that's
were talking.
awesome.
We were talking a little bit of John Wick last episode because Chris likes the nighttime criminal, like the Collateral type movies,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait until you see John Wick because it's nothing but nighttime.
Yeah.
It's neon and it's made by like stunt coordinators.
Yeah.
That were almost like these are their like fantasy sequences, and they just kind of like put a story around it.
Yep.
But these are the action sequences that they fantasized about, and that's what comes through. That's
And
what
I
made John
think
Wick John Wick.
the character. Well, we'll get into the John Wick when we do the John
Yeah.
Wick. Let's get back to Tropic Thunder because I'll go from John
Good
Wick.
call.
for 3
Yeah. So
hours.
so we were
Like, oh
talking.
wait, we're talking about Thunder today, not John Wick.
Good pivot. So we were talking to you, trying to, and I got the idea while we were on speakerphone. And I said, well, we got enough time to watch one more movie.
Yeah, before I get down here.
And maybe it can be a movie that I'm super familiar with that Chris can watch. So we went through what you were just watching. You said Tropic Thunder. I said, let's do that. I put Chris down, gave him a little bib, gave him a little baby food, gave him his little bottle.
Little popcorn.
Yeah, I say, here you go.
Strapped a fresh diaper on him.
I say, here you go, kid. Watch Tropic Thunder. And then I jumped onto a live art stream.
Yeah.
So we were, again, just stacking, piling, like just going through everything. And Chris watched it. I'm live streaming a comic page, cracking up and commenting on Tropic Thunder as like lines are coming and stuff like that. So it was a good experience. But yeah, so what is this movie? Like, how do we describe Tropic Thunder? Like, how do we pitch that to someone?
So Tropic Thunder, in my opinion, is obviously clearly a comedy. It's a slapstick comedy where they're making fun of the old attempts to make these action movies with all these big action stars. So it's almost like a pseudo make fun of like an Expendables meets, like a Vietnam Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump scene.
It's almost like the Hollywood guys are making fun of themselves.
Yeah, and
With
these
the-
big action sequence like
with
all in it.
with the idea of a giant blockbuster Oscar bait filled with people that you're nothing but familiar with.
Yeah.
So it's like this Expendables type lineup. And
So you've got some up and comers, you've got some has-beens, which Ben
Right.
Stiller's part plays. You've got
Yeah.
Kurt Lazarus, who's like the
5-time Academy Award winner.
He's like I don't even know who would we compare him to in real life.
Kurt Lazarus would make the guy I think they're making fun of in that is Russell Crowe
Really?
because they're both Australian. They're
Okay,
both like
yeah.
super
Oh, yeah.
artsy, super highfalutin. Russell Crowe had an issue with the paparazzi, and they
Yeah.
referenced that.
I didn't even think of that. That's really on point.
Yeah, I think.
Didn't he punch a paparazzi or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like somewhat Sean Penn too, because Sean
Yeah.
Penn
Yeah.
has
Yeah,
had
yeah,
real
yeah.
issues with the paparazzi, but and then he's super high horse with his like craft, and that's why I think what's so funny is when Robert Downey Jr. is on the actor studio in this movie,
Yeah.
and he's talking, he's like, wow, he's like acting is no different than plumbing, and
Yeah.
and like a fireman, he's like their tools are pipes and mine is emotions.
Yeah.
It's like what? Mine's emotions.
I love the deconstruction where he goes through. I'm sorry. We'll get to that, I'm sure,
Yeah.
towards the end of the movie. He has like his
Oh, no,
external, internal
we're
epiphany.
spitballing all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he like breaks himself and he takes his contacts.
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
like he's this new guy, and I'm like, dude, you just took out contacts. You didn't do anything.
He's like,
He had like a mental breakdown in 15
he's like,
seconds.
he's like, you're not the dude playing the dude. That's a guy that thinks he is the dude. You're just a dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
And as he's trying to snap Ben Stiller out of his funk, he creates his
snaps
own, and then
Right.
then they double snap out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck's
Well,
going on here,
the
man?
funny thing though is that when Chris was watching that, Chris was like, even like, what the
What's-
fuck is
what's
this?
happening right
Which
now?
is funny because the snap reactions to Jack Black and like they're
Yeah.
reacting, and the timing of their reactions is it's the same as like the an audience member catching up to
Yeah.
what's happening, and they're like projecting what the. It's such that's where this movie's like really artistic.
Yeah.
Where it breaks that barrier even on what some of the reactions are.
Yeah.
And there's people watching the movie happening in like quote unquote real
Real time,
life.
Yeah. Do you think that it was on purpose, or do you think that just happened because of the because of the
it-
story
it-
and the way
it
they were
could-
filming it?
It could
and-
be a happy accident.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of think they didn't plan it that much, but it
Yeah.
just happened to work that way.
But I think when you make a movie as self-aware as this,
Yeah.
you cross that. Like
gonna have a lot
you
of
hit
happy
that
accidents.
intersection
Yeah.
a lot. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to like the other movie that I would say like kind of compares, but not fully, would be like Tim Robbins is in a movie called The Player, where he's a producer, and he gets caught up in this like, you know, he gets like blackmailed, and that movie's so self-aware because he's a movie producer. So
I think I know what you're talking about, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. We have to rewatch that.
But that movie like crosses
Yeah,
the
that
lines
barrier.
where it's like he's a movie producer in a movie being blackmailed, and it's almost like he's in his own movie type
Yeah.
of thing, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just so freaking fun. But no, I mean, so the elevator pitch for this would be like the way how I pitched it to Chris. I said, because Chris and I love Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said, dude, these are nothing but highfalutin actors making a new version of Apocalypse Now, hoping it's going to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
And like that's
a good
like
pitch
the
for it.
premise for the whole movie, and like, you know, it's like Vietnam, it's all Apocalypse Now, but they're almost like in effect also like the story of Tropic Thunder is making fun of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
what you don't
Yeah.
see a lot of.
Yeah.
But at the
No.
same time, it's there. So
Well, nothing's better than the fact that the guy that wrote the book that they're basing the movie off of is a complete fraud.
yes,
And like pretends he has no hands, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy who plays Eastbound and Down,
Danny
Danny
McBride.
Danny
McBride,
McBride.
yeah.
He's like, "What the fuck? You have hands?"
Yeah,
He's like, when they're in the thing, he's like, "You have hands this entire time."
yeah. And what is he? He gets
I
pissed
like
at
that they're
him.
all man. Yeah, because each one of them like comes to the realization that he has hands.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
they're like-
they each ask him, "You have hands?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
fuck
They
off,
say
right?
it one by one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, when they're escaping from like the compound, and Kurt Lazarus, Robert Downey Jr.'s
Yeah.
character, is like, "Fuck, you got hands now?"
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, what, you got hands?
He's like, "Shit, man."
What rewriting the script?
Yeah. Take these boys off the grid.
So, and even before we sat down to it, we were trying to line up like similar comedies that we put in this category, like
Yeah.
modern day ones.
Yeah.
So we decided on Wedding Crashers,
Old school.
Old school. Yeah.
Other Guys,
Nice. Yep.
Anchorman,
Yeah. Ted.
Ted, Step Brothers.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, do we have any? I mean, that's going to be about 7 movies.
I'm sure there's a few more out there that we didn't think of.
Yeah.
But they're going to be outliers.
But-
where not everyone's going to be put
Yeah,
in the same category, even though they might be
I
comedies.
mean, it's
with,
kind of funny
Yeah.
because now I would
Because I can
kind
dive
of
into
put.
some comedies that I like, but they're a little
Yeah.
less mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, like Clerks, Dogma. You know.
Yeah, and those are in the in between time where it's like you put them with the previous
Yeah, I
year's
mean, like,
movies
so
or
those
Yeah,
those
yeah,
ones
yeah.
are like,
Between.
it's
how do you
like,
separate the genres from time frames?
yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, I guess I kind of consider like modern day. I don't know, like, because I just look at old school starting like a wave.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, it did. I agree.
Like, and the people even like so
From that point on, there was a push to bring some.
it's almost
you know,
like
good
comedy
actors
came
together.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lull as far as like just good male comedy,
Yeah.
but it didn't go. It went over the top, but it was controllable. Like it wasn't like Animal House just goes so
Yeah.
far.
Well, I think we have.
But it's a different time frame too. Where like nowadays, half the shit in Animal House, you wouldn't even get to that point.
It wouldn't even
like we got shut down after the first thing, and there wouldn't be no
you
Animal
cannot
House.
even make
Yeah.
Animal House.
Yeah,
today.
that's what I'm saying. It's not
Especially when they're
realistic.
in like the black club.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then they get the
Like-
same band for their toga party.
Yeah,
which
right.
is the
Yeah, I know,
best.
which is awesome.
I'm
yeah.
like, yo, that's epic.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but like so what Chris is saying, like it's Clerks and Dogma, but it's almost like the '90s independent movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
movie bomb, like or like Renaissance almost.
Yeah.
The comedies that were popular that came out of that were these like very small,
Yeah,
like
pocket-
small
like pocket comedy
townish,
films,
and they
yeah.
were all like kind of coming of age type stories
Yes.
because there's like Clerks and Singles,
Yeah.
High Fidelity even
Yeah.
being one of them. Where like
Swingers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mallrats.
right. You know, and it's like these like very like pocket, and then Wedding Crashers and Old School kind of. Now it was almost like the comedy spectacle.
Yeah.
Really came back, and the audience like was ready for it because I think a lot of the comedies leading up to like Wedding Crashers were somewhat depressing, or like they have imagery of like even Clerks.
Yeah,
Clerks is
there's like an undertone.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like fuck. It's like black and white, and
Yeah.
everyone's like monotone in it, and there's no Hollywood in it.
Well, and you couldn't, and you
no,
couldn't.
It's very independent.
It's hard for you
Yeah.
to connect yourself. So that's the one thing about a movie that people argue about music is when you can connect with it, it draws you in more. And if you can't, I'm a very buoyant personality and
Yeah.
boisterous.
Oh, are you, sir?
If you can't,
No,
I
noticed.
can't resonate with any of those characters, but I still like the movies.
Yeah.
But I can connect with an Old School way faster than I can a Clerks.
Yeah.
Even though I like both the movies.
No, it's funny. That's where I feel like I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Where I would connect more with that. Yeah, with the characters coming out of like the movies, like a Dogma or
Yeah.
Clerks type.
Well-
Although I did like Dogma just because of the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
also too like
Selma Hayek is a stripper that's like a
Yeah. I've
whatever.
only seen Dogma once.
Are you serious?
One
Dude,
time.
Chris Rock is kind of funny in that too, man.
Yeah, I only see. Yeah,
And he's super skinny.
seen
Like
it 100
that's like
times.
right before he blew up.
Yeah.
Like he was up there, but he didn't. Hollywood money didn't hit him yet, so he didn't put on like extra.
The Hollywood
He was
money.
still
Yeah.
crackhead skinny. Like
Yeah.
he was
Well,
really skinny in that
the-
movie.
The funny thing when it
And then he
comes
filled
to
out.
when it comes to some of the Kevin Smith comedies is, I don't know. Like I used to love Chasing Amy.
Chasing.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
that
seem
was
to
just-
like stick as well anymore.
No.
Like I have no desire to watch Dogma again.
Yeah.
I could always get refreshed on Clerks.
Well, like you said,
But-
there was a lull, and they filled the
Yeah.
lull, but they didn't fill it completely. It's
But-
just like, all right, there's something to get us through,
Yeah.
and then there was an explosion with Old School.
But,
where I think Hollywood just took a chance with some of these ideas, these movies now, because
Yeah.
they saw how well of like a
Well,
cult classic it became,
Yeah,
and how short of a time.
Because even like Old School was more like I'm trying to remember like what was surrounding that movie. Like was it a like it wasn't even like a
I think there's a
Will
lot of-
Ferrell vehicle because he wasn't Will Ferrell yet.
No, he kind of was, but again,
was.
he was, but it was
Was-
the beginning of it. He
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't. There was no Elf yet. Elf wasn't out.
Right? Yeah.
So he
See,
wasn't like
Elf. Elf's another one to put in
Yeah.
that category.
But I put that way more in a holiday. I put
could
that holiday
watch Elf
comedy.
any day, like
Really?
any
Now,
time
see,
of year.
and
I
it's
love
funny
Elf.
to hear like the difference between your guys' style and what I like, because you guys are saying like what you're saying, it filled the void. It wasn't really what you wanted, as to where that was my bread and butter. And
Get closer, get
yeah,
closer.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
That was my bread and butter. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think some of this too is also generational.
Yeah.
like Mark
Yeah.
and I, we got like a 10-year gap, 10-year plus on my end with Chris.
Yeah.
You know, so when Clerks and all these other movies came out, Chris was at the impressionable age.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I was too, but I was.
It was the cool thing.
Yeah.
Well, see, I was too, but I think what pulled me out of it a little bit faster than him
Yeah,
is
but you-
because
but you
Fast and
got-
Furious came out when I was
Okay.
like a true, just getting my car,
Yeah.
just getting my license. All my friends were, so that superseded
Yeah.
everything
There you go.
else.
Yeah.
like
But-
way faster and pulled me out of that. Like,
Well, yeah, it's also
You know?
too that I think Chris is like when Chris was in high school, it really was during like a movie renaissance. There was like a bomb like when it comes to like independent film and the experimentation, and then like Hollywood caught up to what the independents were doing. So even like the Hollywood films.
Still
like
had an independent.
They started
Yeah,
mimicking some of the
like-
ones that the indie independence films were winning,
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
festivals. They'd start like
Like-
let's mimic this a little bit, and how can we make it better?
Yeah, like
kind of thing.
we're talking like 96, 97, 98, 99, like maybe going all the way up to 2002, 2003. You know, and the Hollywood movies were like largely independent driven at that point. That's where you had like Fox Searchlight,
Yeah.
Sony. I used to know all the sub, and
Yeah.
like every studio had 1 or 2 independent houses. Okay, and I don't know, like, but it's very similar to how almost like Paranormal Activity, like brought back the ghost horror movie, and like and you had like you had Paranormal like coming out once a year. And then you would have like Insidious, which was like Paranormal Activity, but now, you know, like done a different way. And
Yeah.
then you had The Conjuring, which is
Done the
Insidious.
true Hollywood way, like
And then you would have like Conjuring, which is Insidious, but dated. It's set in the 70s.
Well,
like,
let me ask you this.
you
So,
know, like
so
they-
do you think that the Blair Witch, because that was huge, Blair Witch Project was like ridiculous, and it was not just because of what it was, is the fact that it only took, I forget the numbers, but I know it was like maybe 60,000 to make it, which at that point was ridiculous.
It could have been
like-
even less.
Yeah,
Blair
it
Witch
might have
could
been
have
even
been like
less.
20 or 30,000.
Yeah.
Which was, and even
Which at that
point,
time was like, holy, like how'd you make a movie like that for
Yeah.
that? Like, how'd you even do that? Like,
And the cost, when it comes to something like Blair Witch, the interesting thing is that the cost is more with the film development and
Yeah.
purchasing of the film rather than the actual production of it, like
Yeah.
of the movie. Like
Yeah.
the physical materials
Yeah.
All right,
cost more than anything
Yeah.
to make something like
and
Blair
the
Witch.
crazy thing was, I feel like that started something too, where I think that because that movie got put on the map in such a large way, and all those things came into play when people started looking at different movies, and then that just, I think that
Yeah.
that kind of shocked Hollywood and be like, oh wow, if these 3 kids, these knucklehead kids or 4 kids can make a movie like this with that kind of a budget that has that kind of appeal, we need to start looking at what we're making a little bit differently
Well, yeah, of
in
course.
certain ways and for certain movies. And I think that
Right.
all these things just started getting, production
Well-
houses to look at, what did well, why did it do well, and can we do something like that?
Well, I think that's
You know,
Blair
Which
Witch.
before they never would have thought about
Yeah,
it.
Blair
Like,
Witch and Clerks might have been like 2.0s to where Clerks comes out, everyone emulated the Clerks.
Yeah.
Tried to find the next Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction did that. Everyone
Yeah.
tried to get like 2 Days in the Valley, The Trigger Effect. Those are like quick Pulp Fiction knockoffs that were actually all 3 of them are great movies. But Pulp Fiction is the one that's
Everyone
you know,
remembers, yeah.
And then like we see with horror, we've never really seen it with science fiction outside of Star Wars in the 70s, where Star Wars had like 10 years, 20 years of emulators.
Yeah.
But then science fiction went away, kind of never, in my opinion, really never came back. If you consider the Marvel Cinematic Universe as science fiction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then I would say yes. But it's superhero movies, and we have superhero like comic book science in the movies, and it's not really science fiction.
Yeah.
Like there's no science.
They're like
in-
cousins. They're
No,
not. They're not
yeah,
the same.
Yeah, like I would say like one's more fantasy than
Yes.
than anything.
One
But-
of these is not like the other.
yeah. So Wedding Crashers and Old School created this trend that I would say like didn't peak with Tropic Thunder, but Tropic Thunder is almost like
It's in that same wheelhouse.
yeah, and it could be considered the peak because the nature of the movie is making fun of how movies are made.
Yeah.
And how like you try and engineer these like super
Now,
teams and
where do you guys see like The Hangover come in to all that?
oh
like,
yeah,
later on- later on
like
that-
okay, so
you know what
hang
I'm
So
saying?
the Hangover. So
Hangover would be number 8. I forgot about Hangover.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that I wouldn't.
'Cause I
put
love that movie.
I love all the Hangovers.
Get
But I
angst.
think this is the weird
third
thing.
one sucks.
It's
Yeah,
hard to put.
third
You
one's
guys shut your mouths.
Second and third suck.
It's
I like
hard
the
to
second
put
one,
them.
the monkey.
I can't put them in a true like those comics because it's not slapstick. They're like this is more of like a storytelling, and it's like it's
Well,
a.
yeah, I mean it's.
I don't know if I can put it in the same.
I definitely would. But the funny thing though
know.
is like Hangover 2 was so huge and
Well, 'cause-
impactful. Did Hangover get many like imitators outside of like Bridesmaids maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
Like and then what was that Girls' Night? I guess it has some, but none of the imitators are. As,
well, you know what Hangover
even
initially.
close.
Well,
Non-stop.
you know what Hangover stole? They bit off of Rain Man. So Hangover bit off.
Well,
the,
somewhat. I mean,
no.
no, the whole scene they bit off of Rain Man.
well, the whole scene,
Yeah,
but
the
not
casino
the-
scene.
They don't rip the whole movie.
No, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
They
there's
bit off that whole
yeah,
casino
but that
scene.
happens
That's with
like
everything
yeah. I
else.
mean, Tropic Thunder
They're paying homage.
bars
They're not-
like the beginning
so-
of Tropic Thunder's Platoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, there's parts of that movie that bit off from that. So
Yeah,
I
but-
don't know, but that's the only scene that they did that in, though. Like the rest of the movie is like an original type
Well,
story.
no, because Hangover is a update on
What, that Tom Hanks bachelor party?
yeah the bachelor party and the
But
80s.
were they in
and
Vegas, though?
The 80s. It doesn't matter. It's the same
Well-
idea. I mean, like, but like it's
I see what
it's
you're
a
saying.
crazy zany.
Yeah,
I mean,
bachelor
like,
party
don't
type,
they
yeah.
both have a horse? Don't they kill a horse or a donkey in bachelor party? And they have all kinds of like animals,
Animals,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, they
I
have
just-
the main animal, which is the tiger.
Yeah, the tiger,
Mike Tyson's tiger.
the chicken.
such a regal creature, and then he's humping it in the back of
Yeah.
the police car.
But then the
That's just sick, man.
the
Something wrong with you guys.
the chicken in Hangover that's one of the plot threads that they don't explain because everything in the beginning shot of the movie
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
like just about everything's explained
Except for
but,
the
but the chicken they don't explain the chicken which I think it makes it even funnier
Yeah,
because
oh,
like
yeah.
you get to kind of like,
You're like,
fill,
all right.
fill that one in yourself.
Well, and that's the thing. How did you? The best part is just, and that. Well, this is the thing that with Hangover that you can actually try to picture. Like, how would you drunkenly sneak a tiger into a casino
Oh,
and in the hotel?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you like it's okay. It's an impossible thing to think about, but
Well, that's
I don't
what,
know.
But that's what
It's
makes
like-
it funny.
yeah.
though. That's what makes it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, getting to Tropic Thunder though, like, so let's start to wrap this up. Like, how easy is this one of your go-to movies? Is this one of the movies like if someone's like, oh, I want to watch something funny, like what, something funny that's kind of modern day? Like, do you?
Me, no.
Yeah, I
Personally, it's not my style.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. But I know people who completely love Tropic Thunder.
yeah.
yeah,
but-
there's people that will
I feel like
sit here and
it's
say
a
how
person to
great it
person
is.
thing. So I mean, I'm kind of person where if you're at my place and I'm entertaining, I don't really give a shit what you want to watch. Is what I want to watch.
That's it.
So
Well, that's the
if I'm in
difference
the mood to
between-
watch Tropic Thunder and you're drinking my liquor for free, guess what? You're watching Tropic Thunder. That's how that's going to go down.
That's the that's different panty dropping methods there between
Yeah.
Mark and myself.
Oh no, I meant
Mark's like, you're here, you're dropping your panties no matter
It's
what.
my rules.
Yeah.
that's a well. I'm not gonna bust out a Patrice joke. I'm gonna bust out a Tom
Oh,
Segura.
we
No, I said not.
go a whole
No, don't even do Tom Segura. You're permanently banned from even Tom Segura at this point too.
Yeah,
no more Tom Segura.
No
We're done.
more burnt Chrysler. All right, no,
It's like
none of
say
them, right?
Chris knows them all.
I hate
I
you.
know all of them.
I hate you guys.
Jimmy, no more little Jimmy Norton, and none of them. All right.
Okay, so we gotta update people. So Mark loves comedy so much. He's almost like if before there was Lord of the Rings movies, people that read the books were so enthralled by Lord of the Rings books, they would tell people about them. And but you would have to. You can't tell someone one thing about Lord of the Rings without telling them 20 pages
Because of
worth
what- yeah.
of Lord because it's all
It's
this
very complicated.
context.
Yeah.
So that is Mark's attitude towards comedy, like some of his favorite
Comedians.
comedians. It's just
Yeah.
it's just nonstop stuff.
I like that he's got a little passion for it.
He
There's
does.
nothing wrong with that.
But
They're
but
freaking funny, man.
but
If you don't watch
they
them,
are
that's
funny.
you're
But-
gonna die an unhappy person.
but here's the one thing, and Mark and I actually spoke about this. It's like you cannot tell people jokes in stand up because there's such a nuance to how they perform.
oh yeah, the delivery, yeah,
And-
the
and-
mannerisms.
and, like,
yeah,
yeah,
you,
like-
you ruin a joke.
Well,
if
you
try
can't
to say
recreate
it.
it.
You know,
Yeah, you
Mark
can't
says-
recreate
yeah, like you can't recreate. See, like Mark thinks that's the funniest thing, and it's like,
Well,
and
I didn't even know what he said.
yeah, right. See,
he thinks he's
no
funny,
clue.
No
He
clue.
is complete. And
And I probably know what he's talking about too.
Yeah,
I
but-
probably get the reference, but
and I love it that Mark's in self amusement when he does it, but
don't care.
but no
if
one.
I'm laughing, if I get
Yeah.
an extra laugh, well, great. I'm not getting paid
the
for that.
only like so when you like so for me like a lot of times the reason why I like watching stand up is it gets me in the zone of like being funny or like being comical and
Yeah.
just being loose. But the thing is, like sometimes the things I'll take away are is a point that the comedian makes so that I almost like remold the joke. Like I remold what they're saying and
Yeah.
I put that in my lexicon. And sometimes you can like take it out. Like so. Like the one joke that I like to say is when people say, "Oh, I'm getting on the airplane," or I'm getting like I'm getting on an airplane and I use a George Carlin joke. I'm like, "Fuck you!" I'm getting in the airplane. Like you get on, I'm getting in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, or
But
like,
see, but that's just more of like that's so obvious that anyone can make that
But
joke.
it's-
Like, that's
yeah,
not to say
it's
it's George
a play on
Carlin.
words.
but
or
it's
Jeff
funny,
yeah.
and you both laughed. So like, you know,
Got the
or
context
the
back.
That wasn't a true laugh.
or the one
that was a
Yeah.
pity. That was a pity laugh.
or the one where Chris Rock is like, whenever there's anything against a girl and the guy, it's like, oh, I don't condone it, but I understand it.
I
All
understand.
right, well that was a good
Yeah,
end.
see,
That's a
and
good
that's
one.
like, poof, see, so like,
Well, that one-
That or what? I wouldn't hit a bitch.
Yeah, but I'll
choke
shake
the
the-
shit.
I'll
I'd
shake the
choke
shit.
Yeah, I'll
the
shake
out
the
of
shit
her.
Shake the shit
Yeah.
on my
what
arm.
is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? But see, like those are simple, quick, and to the point. And Mark's things like it's Lord of the Rings. You gotta listen to 20. You gotta hear him talk about 20 pages worth of something.
Hell
Just
yeah.
explain to me why Gandalf is going through the mines. why they're in the mines. Mark wants to explain to us why they're in the mines.
Well, see, this
It's like,
is.
can we just get to the
Well,
point?
but then there's also the subtlety of the inside jokes where if we're all out together in a larger group of people and I make a reference to a joke that you guys know what I'm saying and we laugh because of how
No.
much I say it,
No.
there's a
No.
difference there.
No.
Yeah, hands down.
No. Our inside jokes are from our inside lives.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we live.
We
And
don't-
then
we don't
inside
have-
my
we don't have
life,
to quote,
I make the Parkinson's joke reference from Tom Segura. So much so that you
And
guys know what I'm saying
and we
when
make
I say
fun
it.
of you for it.
Exactly. So if I say it out when we're at the bar, we're all gonna laugh.
No, we're
No, we're laughing at you.
whatever.
you.
it's a different. Yeah, and then
Hey, women don't know what a laugh is a laugh from afar.
And then-
they see guys laughing.
oh, that
they-
is 100% true.
Yeah.
good call
No,
there.
that's
True.
Good.
Unless you're the butt of the joke, though.
Yeah.
you-
But they
you
don't. They
can't-
still
you
don't
can't
know.
be the
But
butt
they
of the
still
joke.
don't
If
know.
all of this arrives to that point, then I'm happy we went on this tangent because what he said is absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know,
People
fun,
see other people having a
fun
good
is
time.
infectious. They
Yeah.
want to be a part of
Yeah.
it.
No,
They want the energy, and
And I am a wordsmith, so I do have the ability to spin things, even if I'm the center of it in a negative way.
spin something.
just-
Spin something.
So you're in yammer on about Patrice O'Neill for 20
That's
minutes.
right. Hey,
I still love the way he says Patrice O'Neill.
I know. Yeah, there's no H in that letter.
I
in that word.
I couldn't even spell that
Patel.
dude's name. I couldn't even I don't even know like
If someone had a gun to
like,
his,
I don't
if
even
someone had a
know-
gun
I
to
don't
his
even-
mom's head, like spell Patrice, P.
Yeah.
P. Rice.
like PETE like
C.
Reese.
He's like looking at
it's
looking at his mom's like,
Pete
I love you,
Reese.
I love you, but
It's like
he's like, give me a minute.
but all right, cool. Let's any final words?
Follow me on Instagram at DOCWATSO.
Oh my God. Jesus.
On Facebook, Christopher Watson, and wherever else you can find me.
Okay. Well, let's
Good luck.
let's do the
Good luck
plug
looking for
round.
me. Yeah.
AKA Pad Twitter, AKA Pad Snap, AKA Pad 13 Instagram. PETERADELUCA Facebook. Peter
Yeah, he's not
DeLuca
done.
Facebook.
He's not done. He's still going.
AKAPad.com, AKAPadSite.com. Just search AKA Pad on the YouTube.
Yeah, that's all.
Just say AKA Pad and the pigeon will come
Yeah,
with a
actually,
note.
just Google search AKA Pad.
Yeah.
I should be right there.
You'll be the all top 13 spots on
Yeah.
the page.
Well, there's actually a pad that's AKA Pad. Like there's
Ah.
like a rubbing pad.
Really?
Yeah, I've been competing with that one for
you
a
can-
couple of years.
He's like, he looked at it, he's like, I've been trying to get that one off the top. That's the most serious I think I've ever seen him on a podcast
Yeah.
for. Like, I'm trying to, yeah.
And you can follow Mark at DOCWATSO on Instagram.
You can follow me right now on DOCWATSO.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I'm just going to link all my stuff to his page.
So
yeah, that's the move.
so based on the Dream Warriors recommendation system, is this movie a go or no go?
I mean, overall, it's a go.
It's a go.
It's a go.
I'm gonna have to. It's a no for me, bro.
Wow.
It's a no
So
for
2 to
me.
1? 2 to 1,
Chris,
go.
Chris didn't like
Go,
it.
go, no.
Wow.
It's a no for me. I'm not saying
You know what?
I didn't
shut-
laugh and I
just
didn't
shut
enjoy
your dirty
certain
mouth. You were
parts.
barely paying attention.
This
We're gonna quiz- we're gonna quiz
I
him.
got a live stream.
He was doing
I
a
got,
live stream
I got an
and he's-
hour-long
he's
live
not
stream. We
paying
can see.
attention.
We can see how where he is when we're watching the movie.
Dude, let's quiz him. So name the product that the young rapper has.
Booty
in-
sweat right
Damn,
behind
I know.
him.
I was hoping he wasn't
We
gonna say
have
it.
it. We
I
have
know.
it. We got
I knew it was
cans of
somewhere.
booty
Cans
sweat.
of booty sweat
Cans of
around.
booty sweat.
And I know you already knew that he had it.
We are knees deep in
I
booty
just like
sweat.
it. Like Chris jumped. He's like behind him.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
here.
And I was looking for it. I'm like, all right, it's hidden. He's not gonna see it. It's right
No, I
behind
didn't
Pete.
even need
Yeah.
to. I just knew. I knew it was there.
Put some. Yeah.
booty
And look,
sweat
it's
on.
funny how like we weren't naming the Hangover, and we have Hangover
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that.
5-hour energy
It's
here.
also subliminal.
All right, I'm gonna give you a much harder quiz question. Who is the co-star
Well, this is Pete. This is Dream Warriors,
the
and
Kurt
we're going to be
Lazarus.
signing off right now.
Oh, is the music on already? All right. Well, I
On
wanna thank my mother.
at DOCWATSO.
Follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, so what is that?
What is Captain Dick?
Forever though, like
Yeah.
they would bitch about it, like wanted to go on. Yeah, it was on the fireplace. There was a couple of them out.
And who would
on
be
the
what?
fireplace.
What her and him would be, like his sister and,
Not
and
Tony and like his sister would like complain about it and like.
Oh
but,
my
but he like kept it up there for some reason somehow.
Dude,
Somehow
that's-
he was able. It was so
At
funny.
their house or at his
At their
place?
house. At their house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's the
Peter.
funniest thing, and like it was so funny because like I would go like we would get together for whatever these get-togethers or whatever, and it was like we would at that point then we wouldn't talk about the dick nose thing and all that, but like he's right there and like you know like it was kind of embarrassing. It was kind of like very cringeworthy.
The picture?
Well, the fact that you did the picture and it stayed up, and then like I had to sit there and face your sister. Like he thinks it's all good and funny, but like I'm like half embarrassed, like because like I mean I love playing into it when they're not around, but all of a sudden
funny.
yeah, all of a sudden they're around and I'm
You're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah.
Yeah, then it's
It's like if I plan into this right now and build it up, it's gonna get super fucking awkward, super quick.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I was in that.
I mean, unless
awkward
Heather's trying to fuck you
situation.
on the side, then it's
you know
then it's
that was
actually
the
kinda
case,
good.
Then it
Then
goes
it's good.
good, but
then it gets really good.
Brittany, bitch.
Like that shirt? Like that
I
shirt?
just feel like
son?
that. I feel like some 15-year-old fat chick is like complaining her shirt's missing right now.
I like that. I was
I
on
love
the I was
Brittany.
on the phone with Mark.
That was my first. That was my first ever wang.
I was.
Britney
Oh my
Spears.
God! Here we go. I was on the phone with Mark.
Mine was who was the black
was it?
R&B chick that died in a plane crash in Jamaica, shooting Queen of the Damned, the light skinned black chick.
Aaliyah, yeah.
yeah. So that one video where she's
Chalkline, my jacket company.
Yeah.
Just started. They have a jacket of her, where her like on the back, where her like name running down the sleeves.
Oh, really?
I was debating on buying it today because I'm like that would be fun. Because I like wearing shirts where girls aren't. I don't know why. Like, attractive-
Wait, is it a shirt or a jacket?
It's a jacket.
That's a bit much. A shirt's different. A shirt you can pull off.
Yeah.
Oh, a jacket's kind of like.
You can take a jacket off though.
You can take your jacket off.
You can take it. Yeah. Entrance.
Jacket off.
Entrance.
Jacket off.
Cinderella effect. You turn some heads. People start
Remember
chatting.
that corny
Jacket
ass joke
comes
when,
off.
when you're a kid, like, hey, when you go home and you're done with the day, you take off your pants and jacket.
Yeah, I remember.
You're like, oh, yeah, of course I get changed. Oh, I put my pajamas. Yeah, I get it, jackass, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
There you go,
HD
Mark.
love,
Let's
HD love.
let's get mic'd up. We all. Yeah. Let me see.
So do we got to get an extra microphone or no?
No, we just need an extra headpiece for Chris. Right here, Chris should be. I think we're all good. Everyone can hear one another.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, you guys can split that mic. We're
Yeah.
We're good for now.
There we go.
There you go.